Hi, my name's Kevin Hicks. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The History Squad. Now what we're doing today is we're kind of answering some queries. I'm often asked, so what did these people carry in their pack First World War? I've been asked before, so what went into their packs? So here I am, I've just done a tour at the Saskatoon Museum of Military Artifacts over here in Saskatoon, Canada. And I thought I'd bring along some of my things to show you what either a Canadian or a British soldier carried in his haversack, in his small sack. Interestingly, the Canadians had two. So this is the one that you will often see in the pictures on the back of soldiers. Most importantly, he has a sandbag. If every soldier carries sandbags, you can repair the parapet on your trench. And this one, quite a rarity really, because it's an original. So sandbag. Now this little contraption is, it's interesting. It's got a cover on it, little brass button. It's your, what we would call your mess tins. You can take the lid off and it becomes a cup for your soup if you need it. But it's what's inside as well, because a soldier can keep things in here. This is Hussif, his housewife. This is his sewing kit. And I'm very lucky to have this because this one is an original with all the original needles and buttons and all those kind of things. So it's his sewing kit, what we call in the army is housewife, but apparently it was pronounced Hussif. Further down here, naughty. A game of crown and anchor. In this bag is dice and money. So if he's got a few minutes, he can set up a crown and anchor game and make a little bit of money gambling. Illegal, by the way, in the army. And of course, the bottom part of his can is his full mess tin, so he can get his stew and whatnot in there. So before you even open his pack, you've got his mess tins, you've got his housewife, a little bit of a game there. Now, pair of gloves. This one's interesting. This is just a replica. This is iron rations. You open it up, pull it apart. One part will have chocolate paste and the other half meat paste. But most importantly, gosh, this is old, a can of corned beef as part of your rations, one between two, if I remember correctly, and some cold weather gear. This is your comforter. It's either a hat or a scarf. You have a waterproof poncho here and also a covering for the breech of your rifle. Now this is all very functional stuff. Oh yeah, pair of socks, dry socks, very important. But I'm going to open up the other pack because that's got some interesting things in it. Now we have one of these in the museum, a commemorative teaspoon for the king. It's nice to stir your tea, isn't it? Now, here I have a lovely find. This is actually a cup from the First World War, a tin cup. Think about these though, a nice hot cup of tea, you'll burn your lips, so do be careful. Pocket knife. Now I've been told lots of different things about these. Now don't forget this is from the First World War, so it's a little bit stiff. And you can get horses' hooves, stones out of them. You can actually cut the fuse on an artillery shell, so I am told. I'm not an artilleryman, so I wouldn't know. Now this is, I think, one you call one of my favourite things. This is a spoon that was given to me. It was picked up by a farmer on the battlefield of the Somme near Beaumont Hamel, Hawthorne Ridge there. It's marked with an X and it's worn slightly on the one side. And there's a reason for this. And I'll get my mess tin and I'll show you why. Where's he gone? If you're in a hurry and you're scraping your food, you'll wear the corner of your spoon out. And I look at this and I think to myself, did the poor beggar die as he was charging forward? Was this blown out of his pack? Or did he have it stuck down in his puttees and it simply fell out? Well, I look after it. Yeah, an unknown soldier's spoon. A treasure to me, to others, just a piece of junk. So, your first field dressing, and this should fit in a pocket on the inside of your tunic. But I keep it here for demonstration because if you are wounded, inside your dressing you have a glass vial of iodine. So you must pull out the cotton wool, blow out the little glass vial. I haven't got one, this is a dummy. Snap off the end of the ampule and pour it into your wound or onto the dressing, and then dress your wound. And I can tell you, as somebody who's been knocked about in the army, it's very hard to dress your own wound. We've got lots of, like a balaclava here to cover your ears and your neck in the cold weather. And this is quite something. I'm going to undo this to show you. Very, very carefully. This is a bar of Sunlight soap, actually from just north of Langemarck onto the Passchendaele Ridge. It still smells like the old scrubbing soap. Strangely though, this is Australian issue, but was taken from a German trench. So it's been around a little bit. Just a bar of soap, so I do look after it. Hardtack biscuits. And they do exactly what it says on the tin. They're hardtack. So crush them up into crumbs, put some corned beef into it, heat it up, make some rissoles, as they used to call them. That's fine, but don't try and eat them on their own, not unless you've got a really good set of teeth, because these rock hard. I think triple baked biscuits. You know, one British soldier, he'd been on leave, and his mother didn't believe what he said about hardtack biscuits. They are so hard. So he wrote his mom's address and he put a stamp on it and posted it through the French postal service, and it arrived safe and sound at home. A hardtack biscuit. Got some food here. A tin of McConaughey's pork and beans, 1917. That's just a label. What's inside it is actually modern food, but this is what you had. And if you were lucky, you got McConaughey's. If you were unlucky, you got a different make, which wasn't nice. Souvenir, if you'd been in the trenches at Christmas 1914, you might get yourself some cigarettes or some tobacco, a little pencil, and the little gubbins that go inside Princess Mary's Christmas tin. Now, as a kid, there were so many of these in old ladies' sewing kit, brought home by their sons or husbands. Oxo cubes, nothing better. Freezing cold. I even did this myself in the army in the 70s and 80s. You brought some hot water, an Oxo cube into it. Nice beef tea. And what I'm fetching out here is my wash kit. But it's more than that. Here is a flannel from the day. It's nothing like a modern cloth. It's how they were. Somebody knitted them. Spare pair of laces. Knife, fork and spoon. Then a toothbrush. And this is one of your originals that was found in storage. Hog bristle, I believe it is, on bone. And it does a good job, but they didn't have toothpaste. I've actually got something to show you. Unopened, from the day, tooth powder. It's abrasive, but it'll clean your teeth. What else have I got in here? A razor. And of course, in those days, it's a cutthroat razor. You've got to keep yourself nice and smart, nice and shaved, even in the trenches. And then finally, a bullnose, a can opener. Where would you be without your can opener? You'd have lots of cans, but you've got to have one of these to open it. Far bigger, heavier and bulkier than the can openers I had in the 70s. And then you may have a souvenir. These were given to me by a teacher many, many years ago. He says, my grandfather found these on the body of a dead German officer when he was in the First World War. And he says, would I take them and show them to people? These, well over 100 years old, typical souvenir. Soldier shove it in his pack, might even use it. And they are still usable to this day. Another souvenir thing. People call these hate belts. It's basically the soldier's belt, and he's got badges on from the different regiments he served with. This one's got some mainly First World War and some Second World War. Some say hate belt. I prefer to call it a souvenir belt. And then finally, in here, we have his paybook. Inside here, letters, photographs, things you shouldn't have. But I've got an interesting piece that I wanted to show you. This is a piece of cloth off a tunic of a British soldier that was recovered from Langemarck along with 7 other men. They were buried in the mud, and I was there and actually found a shoulder sticking up. When they recovered them, it was a Lewis gun team. And I was handed this by the policeman, and he says, show it to the kids that you teach. Show them and tell them that every year, my little unit recover at least 80 bodies from the Passchendaele Ridge area. So that's it. What soldiers carry. Yeah? Oh, one thing I forgot. You mustn't go into combat unless you have your whistle, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed our little film there about what's in the pack of a First World War soldier. If you did, like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the notifications button, the all notifications, otherwise you won't know what's coming next. But for now, thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.